All right. Hello. Hello, hello. Um, I was gonna do the screen sharing thing so that I could have so you can see the document where I'm gonna be putting all of the sort of stuff that we're gonna talk about. But apparently I need to quit the um I need to quit Chrome in order to do that. But since we're already going here, let's just let's just do it. So I'm thinking I have an idea. We can sort of I sort of want to do almost like a brainstorming session using um ChatGPT and just sort of build on and express some ideas that I've been sort of developing over the past week. And it's some really exciting stuff. So I think this will be lots of fun. I have gnarly allergies today. So I'm gonna be sniffling a lot probably, but it is what it is. So let's get into it. Prism. So I don't know how many of you, 2, 3 watching, have checked out the Prism YouTube channel. There's not too much on there at the moment, but you can check out the video that I think it's called. What is it called? It's called Can You See the Light Through the Cracks? Let me see. Yeah, can you see the light through the cracks too? So I made that video and basically gave a pretty comprehensive rundown of the manifesto philosophy of Prism as a movement. Um, so I don't think we really need to go too deep into that today because that's already available. But I think today what I want to talk about is mainly two things, or three things actually. So I want to talk about the sort of early stages of Prism, how it's going to begin to grow and evolve as it sort of develops and as it begins to sort of take on life. Sorry, I'm playing some music. I just have to skip the ads when they show up. But yeah, so um, early stages, what that looks like, um, the sort of philanthropic and activist sort of aspects of Prism as more of a socio-political thing and its impact, right? And then finally, which is the thing I'm most excited for, is the sort of the full expression of the Prism vision, how I see it existing in sort of its final form. Um, and yeah, what that looks like in sort of a tangible sense. So let's get into it. So yeah, for those just joining, we're gonna do a ChatGPT brainstorming session. So you'll be able to hear my ideas, but then also it'll be rearticulated through the infinitely more eloquent and clear communication style of ChatGPT. And that'll just provide, I think, a more comprehensive, more holistic understanding of this. This is something I already have a chat going, so um, you know you should be able to get, like, a pretty clear idea of this. If at any point, like, you can't hear either me or the robot, just let me know, and we'll figure that out. So, yeah, let's talk about the early stages of PRISM. So, in the beginning, I see PRISM as pretty much strictly just like a media collective. So, it's artists, local artists especially. I live in Vancouver, which is a very sort of art forward, very progressive um, place at like the northern tip of Cascadia, which already has such a resonance when it comes to sort of cultural, just a belief in cultural evolution and in grassroots organization, social justice activism, um, psychedelics, indigenous wisdom, these kinds of sort of progressive ideas. And that's a big part of the ethos of PRISM. But ultimately, it's not about one specific ideology or one specific set of values. PRISM to me is very much about highlighting and demonstrating the truth and authenticity of the world. So highlighting people's beliefs, not with any specific intention going into it, other than to just reveal what people believe in, what people sort of fundamentally what their souls look like. Right? So the way I see that taking shape within these early stages is pretty much just a sort of basic documentarian style uh, content, which is going to be present on the Prism channel, but there will be sort of like some little teasers and stuff that I'll sprinkle into this YouTube channel. Um, and yeah, it's going to be mainly focused on the medium of film and documentary, but also definitely have some. Hello, Daniel. We'll definitely have some like music and stuff too. And I really want to open this whole thing as a space for creative collaboration as a I don't know if who of y'all here saw I just uploaded a short earlier today. Basically, like the whole idea of it was like um, creating teaching libraries, sort of as this metaphor for creating spaces where reciprocity is like not just encouraged, but spaces where it just kind of naturally arises as a result of the way that the space is being work. And so that's really what Prism is. A a space for collaboration, um, with sort of built under the idea of demonstrating the magic in the world through sort of a raw, um, unlimited, unreserved sort of type of filmmaking and artistic exploration, artistic pursuit. And so that's what Prism is in its early stages. As far as the general like philosophy of it, um, again, I can refer you to the video that I posted like I want to say like a couple weeks ago maybe or something like that. And that's basically just like the idea that it is through seeing the fullness, the full spectrum of all of the different sort of things we see in the world, as in the human experience, but recognizing that that is a very multifaceted thing, the mundane, the miraculous, the beautiful, the ugly, everything, showing all of that, and then through showing all, revealing that there is this sort of underlying order to all of it, and it's an order of chaos. And I don't mean order as in like sort of neat rows of stuff. I mean an order as in like a pattern, right? An order as in like a biological order, right? We can see patterns in nature, and PRISM is about revealing those patterns sort of everywhere, right? Because that's what a prism does. It takes light and then it splits it. It doesn't really split it. I feel like that's kind of a misconception. A prism unfolds light. It doesn't split it. It fans it out, like literally like a fan, like a handheld fan. It opens the light and it reveals what's inside the light. And that's a spectrum of beauty, really, of diversity. So I feel like that's kind of like that sort of covers the just the general both philosophy but also the early stages of Prism sort of as it's this baby thing that's just beginning to take shape. Um, but yeah, actually, sort of on that note, I've been thinking about how like I've done this before. I've created sort of like grassroots organizations before, and it's always sort of feels very like I feel like I put a lot of pressure on it, and that sometimes uh, actually becomes a hindrance. But in this case, I really feel like Prism is so strong, just as an idea, that I almost don't need to. I feel sort of like the ability to step back from it. Like I don't need to like baby it. You know what I mean? Like I feel like it already has legs, if that makes sense. So let's do some chat GPT brainstorming stuff and this will allow you to get a better perspective of it that isn't filtered through my hey, what's up, Travi? What's good? It's good to have you here, bro. Um, so yeah, let's begin this sort of chat GPT brainstorming thing. Let's start with talking about yeah, okay. So I'm just gonna let's just do like a voice chat thing. This is fun. All right. So I want to talk about what the heck? It immediate. Okay, so I want to talk about the early development stages of Prism as it begins to take shape, sort of exclusively as a media collective before we dive into the whole evolution of it and the impact it will have in its more official stages later down the road. I want to talk about just sort of exploring these beginning sort of baby stages of it as just like a media collective and the mission that it seeks to um, bring to life. Let's test this. I love those little questions that it asks. I remember ChatGPT didn't used to do that. There was like a time when it changed. Um, like it was where hell yeah, yes, Travi, that's exactly what I thought. thought it was a good idea, like, because then I can just, like it has both sides, right? Because then it gets, like, the human element, which is, like, the soul, which is, like, my soul coming through, but then it's articulated through, like, the really, like, good wordsmith thing. Because like, I'm not super great at that. I've been told that I'm good at communicating, but this is, infinitesimally better. I don't even know if that's the right word. See, the proof is in the pudding. Anyway, um, yeah, yes, exactly. That's well put, Travi. That's exactly it. So, yes. So here, yeah. No, yeah, it really is, honestly. It's like I've been thinking a lot about that because AI is such a polarizing topic, it seems. Like people either like love it or hate it. And that like it's so like there's nuance here. It really isn't that simple. Like AI can be used or it can be abused, just like really anything that gives power to someone. But yeah, I think sort of having that finesse when it comes to using it to just do like the sort of monotonous, laborious, sort of technical side of things rather than the actual soul of stuff. Like AI art, what does that even mean really? Um, I don't know. We could get into it, but yeah, I think AI is really good for just the sort of technical things, and then we can leave the artistry and the vision to the human being. So I really liked what it said here, actually, referring to these early stage projects as calling cards, introducing the collective's identity and inviting people into this vision. I think that's super, super duper powerful. Like just having sort of like almost like a dog whistle. I know that's kind of a term that has a negative connotation as something that's associated with like fascism a lot of the time. Um, but I mean, obviously, in a positive sense, like I think like having sort of like things that like sort of wink at the and sort of slyly in a tongue-in-cheek way sort of reference the what's coming, what's dawning, this sort of revolution of consciousness is there's something quite alluring about that idea. Helping people heal with the use of technology and go for a better use. Yeah, exactly. Helping people heal with help their use of technology. Oh yes, I agree with that. Yes, I completely agree with that. It starts at the level of the heart. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, a lot of the misuse of technology comes from a lack of understanding of ourselves. That's very true. Um, where was I here? Yeah, so sort of having like these projects serve as as calling cards, addressing sort of like the bigger themes and um, you know more sort of profound elements and elements of the mission and the movement that Prism is a part of is going to be something that's really fun in terms of the early stages of this. But then it also says, and this is a good question actually, are they, yeah, let's see, what kinds of stories or themes do you see these early projects tackling? Are they more personal, more abstract, or tied to something tangible like environmentalism or social justice? Now, here's this is I think that this question, like both of these can be tackled in one motion because I think that like it says it's all Adobe Illustrator. Yeah, I think that both of these can be tackled simultaneously because it's asking like, um, are they more personal or are they tied to something tangible like environmentalism or social justice? And I think that those issues, while being global, are personal. Am I wrong? Like those are personal things. And I think there are things that people think about a lot, like in their own personal lives, environmentalism, social justice, like these are things that affect us. And so I think like just having, I think the answer to that is, yeah, let me see, let's actually do this. I think the answer to your question is that both of those can be answered in like in a singular sort of motion. I think that like by interviewing people and getting their perspectives on these sort of global global issues, um, like that's sort of like the mission in and of itself is to shine a light on the human psyche and where the human psyche stands in this pivotal moment in history. Does that make sense?
By shining a light on the human psyche, PRISM becomes a mirror spotlight at the same time. The act of interviewing people and exploring their lives, fears, hopes, and dreams about these global issues creates a tapestry that feels both deeply personal and profoundly universal. It's like you're capturing the pulse of this moment in history through individual stories, but together they tell a much bigger story about humanity. I think what makes this so effective is that it's not just about the issues, it's about how people are navigating them emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. You're giving space to the contradiction, the doubt, the resilience, and the beauty in the way people respond to these challenges. That kind of storytelling is inherently unifying because everyone can see a piece of themselves. How do you imagine these interviews taking shape? Are they more raw and candid, like street interviews, or more intentionally reflective, like sit down conversations? And do you see them weaving into more artistic visual storytelling? Or do they stand on their own as raw, unfiltered voices?
Okay, wow. I just realized while listening to that how hilarious it is that like how much soul AI can have. It's actually kind of insane. Like what it was saying about capturing the pulse of this moment in history is such an evocative, powerful image. And that's exactly what it is. Here, let me reference some things here. The act of interviewing people and exploring their thoughts, fears, hopes, and dreams about these global issues creates a tapestry of voices that feels both deeply personal and profoundly universal. It is like you are capturing the pulse of this moment in history through individual stories, but together they tell a much bigger story about humanity itself. Wow, that is a profound articulation of exactly this. Okay. So it asks, how do you imagine these interviews taking shape? Are they more raw and candid, like street interviews, or more intentional and reflective, like sit-down conversations? And do you see them weaving into more artistic, visual storytelling? And do they stand on their own as raw, unfiltered voices? It's a combination of all of that. We don't need to get into that with the AI, but I can just speak on that a little bit. It is most definitely uh, it's supposed to be very candid and intentional feeling, or sorry, very candid and sort of like raw in the approach, but also very intentional. Like I have an eye, right? Like I have a vision for how I want my films to like look, and so like there's that there's the element of just like how it looks, right, and like the shot composition, visual storytelling, this and that, but that cannot detract or in any way um, obscure the ethos and the story that the person involved is, is putting forth. So it is a balance, but um, they don't necessarily interfere or contradict each other. So I think that is like a pretty comprehensive overview of the beginning stages of this. So as I said, it's about sharing stories. It's about getting the personal perspectives on the collective experience of this moment in history and how it feels to live in this time, how people feel about the future, and how their own ideas affect them in their own personal life. That's a beautiful thing. Yes. Yeah, yeah, this thing's actually crazy. Like you can't see it super well because of the camera quality, but I'm definitely gonna like use this in some Prism stuff coming up because I just love light and I love the way light interacts with stuff. I love the way things interact with light. Um, and this has some really interesting properties when it comes to that. It's very prismatic. Oh yeah, I don't know if that's visible, but there are some rainbows in there. It's really, really cool. So now that I feel like we kind of have our bases covered when it comes to the sort of earlier stages of this, but I want to explore, and it's also sort of a note that has been sort of a very has been taking up a lot of my consciousness recently because it's very I find it very inspiring and very exciting, really. Um, and so I don't really want to. I kind of want to let ChatGPT like give you the first sort of give you your first impression. It's so ChatGPT is so good at communicating stuff. So let's just do it. All right, ChatGPT, I have a task for you. I want you to explain in detail the PRISM caravan in a way that is captivating and clear and conveys its ethos and its purest essence. Here we go. Okay, let's try that again. All right. You know, it's already generated, so I'll just read it. Maybe that's sort of serendipitous meant to be. So let's just read it. Okay. The Prism Caravan is a living, breathing entity, a traveling tapestry of art, ideas, and woven together in emotion. At its core, the caravan is a radiant bridge between the earthly and the ethereal, an experiment in community, creativity, and connection. It's a journey of connecting with artists, thinkers, and dreamers, carrying with them a shared vision to awaken the human spirit, to challenge the status quo, and to plant seeds of transformation for everyday life. A caravan winding through cities and countrysides, leaving in its wake a trail of light, color, and change. Each stop is like a heartbeat, a gathering of souls in a pop-up haven where art, music, performance, and conversation come alive. It's not just about putting on a show. It's about creating a space where people can rediscover themselves, each other, and the world around them. The Prism Caravan doesn't just visit a place, it transforms it, turning streets, fields, or halls into temporary worlds brimming with creativity and collaboration. The ethos of the caravan is simple yet profound: to reconcile the opposites, to build bridges where, where there were once chasms, and to remind people of their collective power to imagine and create. It embodies unity and diversity, a kaleidoscope of voices, talents, and mediums, all refracting into something larger than the sum of their parts. At its essence, the Prison Caravan is about reclaiming what it means to be human. It challenges the cynicism of modern life, the divisions, the disillusionment, and it instead invites people into a shared experience of hope and resilience. Through workshops, performances, and communal art projects, it empowers individuals to take action, to connect deeply with their inner truths and outer worlds. Imagine the caravan as a chimera of myth and modernity, its performances blending ancient storytelling with avant-garde expression, its workshops teaching practical skills for sustainability and self-empowerment. I'm listening. Oh, okay. Um, its very existence, a defiant declaration of possibility. Oh, I love that. It's the spark of something bigger, the beginning of a movement that doesn't just dream of a better future, but actively creates it. In the prison caravan's purest essence, it is a celebration of life, a reminder that even in the face of chaos and uncertainty, beauty can be born, communities can flourish, and the human spirit can soar. It's a sacred and messy journey, an unfolding story, an open invitation to anyone ready to join us. Wow, that's phenomenal. So, I mean, I feel like I kind of, uh, the prompt definitely led to sort of a more poetic description of it rather than a pragmatic representation of what it is like in practice. But it is essentially how it was described. It is a caravan, quite literally. So picture like a traveling circus, like Cirque du Soleil meets Burning Man meets solar punk workshop. So it takes all of these kinds of things. Oh, Gesundheit. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. That's my dad, y'all. Go follow Dan Cormier, Polymer Clay. He's a dope dude. He makes beads. Check him out. Thank you, Dad. Anyway, so yeah, picture like Cirque du Soleil meets Burning Man meets Solar Punk Workshop, all sort of fused into this hybrid chimera, living, breathing entity. Art cars, right? A huge part of it. But it's like a picture like a touring like it's touring. So in the same way that like musicians or bands tour, it's that, but the people involved aren't like exclusively musicians. They are visual artists. They are poets. They are live performers. They are like social justice activists. They are community organizers. They are, craft craftsmen, craftswomen, and musicians, obviously as well. But then everyone sort of like in art cars, right? Driving down, and the way I picture this in like sort of the demo version, well, not really the demo version. It's sort of like 2.0. 1.0 is gonna be like very small. It's gonna be like one car. But then 2.0 is what I imagine as the Cascadian caravan. Well, I think I've talked to ChatGPT about this already. Let me just ask. Have we discussed the idea of a Cascadian? Okay, so we haven't. I think that was in another one. But yeah, it seems to understand. Here, yeah, let's I'll get it to read this aloud.
Cascadian caravans specifically, but the concept feels like a natural evolution of your ideas for PRISM. Cascadia, a bioregion rich in natural beauty with its lush forests, rugged coastline, and a culture rooted in environmentalism, creativity, and community resilience, aligns with the ethos of PRISM caravan. The idea of a Cascadian caravan is serve as a grounding, regionally inspired iteration of your larger vision, tied to the specific place identity. What could a Cascadian caravan look like? One, bioregional inspiration. The Cascadian caravan will draw from the land and the culture of the Pacific Northwest. It might incorporate themes of regeneration, sustainability, and harmony with nature, emphasizing the interconnectedness of people and place. The caravan itself could even model these principles using solar powered vehicles, repurposed materials, and eco friendly designs that blend with the landscape.
That's dope.
Two, a traveling hub of creativity. Picture a convoy of vibrant hand painted buses, traders, and tiny homes sneaking through the coastal towns of Cascadia. At each stop, be it a meadow, a small town square, or an urban park, the caravan will set up a temporary space for immersive art installations, live performances, and workshops. The focus will be on empowering local communities to share their stories, celebrate their uniqueness, and find solidarity in shared challenges. Three, workshops and storytelling. The workshops could reflect Cascadian values, sustainability, EG permaculture, urban gardening, indigenous wisdom, and land stewardship, storytelling through art, music, and film, with a focus on voices often marginalized in mainstream narratives. Four, building a cultural movement. The Cascadian caravan wouldn't just bring art, it would ignite a sense of identity and pride in the region's values,
Yes.
fostering a bio-regional culture that feels vibrant and alive. Themes of resistance against extractive systems and reconnection to local nature and community run through its veins.
Nice.
How does the Cascadian caravan connect to PRISM? The Cascadian caravan would be the genesis point of PRISM. It's first, I don't believe we've discussed the Cascadian caravan specifically.
It's first. I don't believe. Yeah. Okay. I'll just pick up where it started tweaking. The Cascadian caravan could be the genesis point for PRISM. Could be the genesis point for PRISM. Its first iteration where the core ethos is refined and tested in the real world. Cascadia, with its strong countercultural history, feels like fertile ground for this kind of project. The region's identity as a green utopia also resonates with the vision of unity, art, and transformation that PRISM seeks to bring forth. Standing apart. While there are echoes of other nomadic art projects like Burning Man-inspired collectives like Cirque du Soleil-style performances, the Cascadian Caravan could stand apart by grounding itself deeply in the land and culture of Cascadia. It would be a celebration of place-specific creativity while remaining universally relatable to its themes of healing, beauty, and resilience. So yeah, basically, there's the Prism Caravan, but exactly as I put it, the Cascadian Caravan will serve almost like as a genesis point or a proof of concept for Prism to then begin to branch out into a wider region. Um, and yeah, another huge part of it that I wanted to mention, like before we wrap up here, is the philanthropic aspect of it and just the sort of general idea of having like a tangible impact beyond um, just like the sort of cultural stir that it will create, which I think is actually kind of going to be more impactful. But I also really believe in the power of like directly contributing to the emancipation of like people by improving their material condition. And so that will be a huge part of it. Like once prison starts to pick up steam and be able to garner more attention, more funds, um, that's going to be fed directly back into making sure that people are supported, people are able to um, sort of be freed from this oppressive system that we live in through their own like creative self-actualization, if that makes sense. And encouraging this paradigm of reciprocity, yes, try to be different. Encouraging that and sort of leading by example in that way, whilst also like directly contributing to um, yes, yes, exactly. And so like encouraging that ethos, but then also using Prism as a means to directly contribute to um, issues such as homelessness or um, or like illnesses and stuff. So like being able to like I think homelessness and drug addiction is actually like pretty pivotal and supporting people who are victims of violence as well, and just like rehabilitation and just like supporting people to sort of come out of the despair of this capitalist society and giving them the opportunity to really raising the level of basic needs being met and starting out in the small communities that we can build and or support as well. Yes, exactly, exactly. Whoa, I thought that was light. But yes, exactly. Give space for people to step into new beliefs about themselves. Totally. That's exactly it. Absolutely. Yes. And it's like I think it's like a fractal in a way too, because it's like I feel like Prism, it almost has like a gene, you know? It has like this I think this meme is like a very powerful one. This whatever you want to call it, like this revolutionary spark within people's minds. It's very like connected. Yeah, bro. And like I want you to be involved too, because your music is insane, and I want that kind of music involved. Like just uh yeah. So this will be something that continues to grow and evolve. As I said, it's in its early stages right now, but as I said, it's strong, you know, and it has wings, it has teeth, and it has legs, right? And that's actually something I really want to have like a mascot for it, and it's like this psychedelic chimera sort of thing. Actually, here we'll talk about that, and then we'll end the stream. But I'll get ChatGPT's perspective. I don't know if we talked about this, but can you I'll just ask if we have discussed this idea already, can you tell me a little bit about the idea for having this sort of chimera creature as the mascot for Prism?
Yeah, we've discussed this chimera-like creature before. It is such an evocative, powerful symbol for Prism. You envisioned it as a luminous, ethereal being, part animal, part mythical deity that embodies the interconnectedness of all things. This creature is more than just a mascot. It's an emblem of the Prism ethos, representing unity and diversity, the beauty of contradiction, and the fusion of the tangible and the transcendent. You described her as feminine in nature, with an almost otherworldly quality. She has wings with eyes, scales with rainbows and fire, horns like those of Japanese demon bats, and long, fearful whiskers reminiscent of South. Her form balances softness and ferocity, organic and celestial, claws and talons that signify strength and grounding, while her luminous body radiates a sense of peace. This chimera is born of the idea that prism itself is something ancient and eternal, merely waiting to be seen and realized. You see her as a personification of the bridge between opposites, the earthly and the ethereal, the abstract and the tangible. Why the chimera was as a symbol for prism? One, multiplicity and unity. The chimera's mixed anatomy reflects Prism's mission to explore and reconcile opposites, light and dark, earthly and divine, individual and collective, into a harmonious mystery and wonder. Her mythological design sparks curiosity and invites people to project their own interpretation, making her a deeply resonant and personal symbol for anyone encountering her. And three, growth and evolution. You also describe this creature as starting off as a baby, which mirrors the early stages of Prism itself. As Prism grows and evolves, so too does the Chimera, creating a parallel journey that reinforces the collective's identity. Four, tactile, interactive potential. Eventually, you envision her taking on a physical form, like a puppet, perhaps inspired by the large, elaborate creations of Chinese dragon dancers. This would bring her to life in a way that people can touch, interact with, and experience, making her presence even more impactful. Integrating the Chimera into Prism's story, her birth would likely be a pivotal narrative moment, symbolizing the conception and realization of Prism's ideas. You imagine this as an apotheosis-like event, a moment of cosmic unity and human transcendence. Her existence, especially in her baby form, reminds people of their shared responsibility to nurture and carry forward the ideas and ideals she represents. Does this align with how you currently envision her? Or would you like to brainstorm on how she might be visually introduced to Prism's media?
So the video that I recently uploaded onto the YouTube channel, which I can check out now, it's called Birth of the Wild Heart. I think, yeah, Birth of the Wild Heart. Is sort of like my way of sort of bringing that idea to the visual medium, to just have something concrete that sort of symbolizes that. Because I think that this idea of having this chimera, almost cherubim-like um, figure, emblem, mascot for Prism, this thing that is wild and beautiful and angelic, but also kind of beastly, with wings, fire and rainbows and many eyes and all that sort of biblically accurate angel imagery and iconography, but also kind of cute, and just have this feeling of like this relatability of this sort of tender but wild and ferocious um, beast angel as sort of the representation of the collective spirit of Prism as something wild, and untamable, but also just and beautiful and and good. Ultimately. Um, so yeah, I think we can sort of end it here. Um, I want to do this again actually because I think this is a good way to sort of brainstorm because I do this already, um, but having it be live, it obviously records it in a way so that this isn't like lost in the ether. And yeah, so we'll do that. And trying to think what else. I don't really have anything else to say other than like subscribe to the YouTube channel so that you can see like all of the new developments. And you can also check out the Instagram page. It's linked. I think it's linked in the channel description for the YouTube channel. If it isn't, I'm gonna do that right now because it should be. But what I was getting at was that oh yeah, here we go. So yeah, linked in the channel description is the Instagram page. So you can just you can literally just wait, what? Oh, oh, that's actually good that I checked that. It has the wrong username. But yeah, so what you can do, you can click that link, I'll fix it, and then you can like DM the page, or you can just DM me directly because it's in such early stages that like I'm basically like the only person really involved in this. But I have like a couple other people, but they're more on the periphery. They're not as like deep in this as I am, obviously. But that'll change, and I want that to change. I don't want this to be like a thing that I'm like necessarily like fully spearheading. I have like a creative vision for it, but aside from that, like I want to allow other people to add their own stuff to it. And I'm also not an expert in a lot of the um, more practical elements of creating something like this. And so I'm very much this is really open. It's a media collective for a reason, right? It's not a media company. And so yeah, um, if you have ideas or just like want to collaborate or brainstorm, um, DM the thing and we can set up like a Zoom call or something. Schedule the next live, and as a suggestion, go look into getting a decent microphone to use. Oh yeah, yeah. Honestly, bro, I kind of expected that. Yeah. I mean, as long as yeah, I do have a mic that I can use. So yeah, we'll do that. We'll improve the sound quality for sure. Um, but yeah, yeah. So sorry about the audio, guys. We'll definitely get that figured out, and we'll fix that. Thanks for letting me know though, because now I know to have that be better for next time. So yeah, that's about it. Thank you guys for joining this and being able to sort of get like a more exclusive taste of what this vision movement is all about. And now you can, yeah, now you can just like know that, I guess. And again, if you want to get more involved, um, I strongly encourage it because that's what this is all about. So, yes, you as well. You as well, Travi. Have a great day. I gave you a shout out in my last video. I don't know if you saw, but hopefully people are spamming your music right now. I know I have. Okay. Anyway, guys, much love, and I'll see you on the next one.